As part of its 65th anniversary celebrations, the University of Limpopo held a memorial lecture to pay tribute to Onkgopotse Tiro, a prominent black consciousness activist. Born in Dinokana, Zeras in the Northwest Province in 1947, Tiro was a symbol of the resistance against the horrors of apartheid. His life was cut short when the apartheid regime pursued him into exile in Botswana and assassinated him. Tiro sought to transform the university into a truly black institution through his graduation speech in April 1972. He questioned why a supposedly black university was dominated by white administrators and lecturers. He also challenged the exclusion of black parents from the graduation hall where their children were receiving their degrees. The co-founder of the South African Students Organization and human rights activist Professor Barney Pityana said that Tiro's unwavering dedication to equality and justice made him a constant thorn in the side of the oppressive apartheid regime.
He was giving, making it very clear to the system that time that he will be a teacher of a different kind. So of course he was expelled. And of course other students, not just on this campus, all campuses, walked out of their universities. Of course that sparked a national strike in black institutions as a result of the truth that Tiro was speaking at this university.
Professor Pityana has expressed concern that despite 30 years of democracy, many South Africans remain trapped and unfree.
My point is this, that an institution like this, black consciousness, which is a cradle of this, its task is to free men and women to think, and to think critically, and to think freely. So we just cannot now, 30 years after what we were told that this was a new dispensation, a democratic, constitutional dispensation. I have a feeling that we are probably more imprisoned in our minds today than we were in 1969 and 1972. The capacity of people in South Africa to think freely, to think critically, seems to be diminishing by the day. The capacity to be critical thinkers is what makes our country what it should be, what it can become. Not become just indolent sheep that follow any nonsense that's being told for us.
The University of Limpopo has committed to keeping Tiro's legacy alive by continuing to honor his life and contributions. These efforts include preserving his iconic graduation speech, which is now part of the Tiro's collection in the university's archives.
In the hall that we call Recreational Hall today was the main hall. He asked a very simple question, among other things. He said, why is it that when we are graduating as black students, the people who are in the hall exclude our parents? Why is it that we have white lecturers who have been nothing but racist to us during our studies are the ones occupying the seats that should be occupied by our parents? And that's why the university, in memory, or in making sure we memorialize his life, we named this lecture, which is in its 10th edition this year after him, and it has featured prominent leaders and activists from all over the world. But as I say, the hall that we are standing in as we speak is named after Onkgopotse Tiro. That's where we hold all important events of the university, including graduations. Isn't it ironic that he made the speech at a graduation, and today all graduations of the university twice a year are held in the hall that is named after him.
The Tiro family, which also attended the 10th memorial lecture of their son, say they are grateful that the university continues to preserve his legacy.
To the family, came as a dark cloud over the family because he was a breadwinner even though he was out of the country. So the most affected person was my mother. She became ill, but God is there. She could stay until 30 years after Onkgopotse was born. She was 50 at that time. She lived up to the age of 51. So that's how actually I received the news of Onkgopotse's death and the effect of his death in the family.
Tiro's remains were exhumed and repatriated from Botswana for reburial at his home in Dunukana in 1998. His brother, who was young when Tiro went into exile, recalled how he skipped the country and the news of his death.
I was asleep, and he woke me up and said to me, and that was the last time, and it was at night. That was the last time I saw my brother. And at that time I was 11. I had just turned 11. Then 3 months along the line, he was killed.
It's been 50 years since Tiro's assassination in Botswana, and yet no one has been held accountable for his tragic death. The Truth and Reconciliation Commission also failed to investigate Tiro's death, leaving his family and supporters without closure. I'm KoketšoMotau, SABC News, Mankweng.